Watch this coach expose the real reason you misread serves. It's not your eyes failing, it's what you're watching.
天天关注，
Most
天天。
players think they can read spin, but under real match pressure, their judgment falls apart. Today, I want to show you why and what to do instead. Here's the key principle: a no spin serve requires the server to use very little force. If they swing hard, the ball must have spin. That alone simplifies your read enormously. Now watch, I'm serving backspin to my partner here. She knows it's backspin, she tries to loop it, but look at the hesitation. That hesitation is exactly the problem we're going to fix. Too many errors. Let me show you something that feels almost magical. Watch, I call out each serve: backspin, backspin, topspin, 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 backspin, topspin. My partner handles them fine when I announce the spin. Now I mix them up randomly, just like a real match, no announcements. Watch what happens. Immediately the errors pile up. So why does mixing the spin cause so many mistakes when she could handle each one individually? Think about your own state when this happens. Her answer: the brain reacts one beat too late. That slight delay means you start your stroke preparation in a rush. Even if your read is correct, the movement feels hurried and incomplete.
反应就慢一拍就是还得先判断，然后你先去做反应，可能对有点仓促了，然后可能动作做不完整。但是虽然说判断准了，但是你可能就比如说我摩
When your
擦力还不
judgment
够，
is even
然后我
slightly
先做
delayed,
10，
your
我
stroke
可
gets
能
cut short.
在涉及到
Say
判
you
断
need
或
a
者慢
full
点儿
10 out of 10 on your brush contact to overcome the incoming spin. But because you're late, you only manage a 7. That's not enough friction to cancel the rotation, and the ball goes into the net or flies long.
会有些犹豫，
The
有的时
second
候我还
problem
得
is
去
doubt.
看看这
Even
个
when you
球有的时候
identify the
折
spin
台的时候，你
correctly,
看你
there's a
这个
moment
球
of
落我台再
hesitation.
落我台，
You want to
我
double
会有
check
一个
after the
就
ball
是没有
bounces.
那么坚定，哎，我
That
对我
split
再
second of
确认一
uncertainty
下，是不是
weakens your
下面
commitment.
是不是下
So
面
here's the reality many players
对
face.
对对对对。
You actually know the spin, yet you still mishandle the serve. That's not a reading failure, it's a confidence failure.
嗯，哎，这个是对，也有，嗯，
Watch this. I serve a heavy hook style backspin, really loaded. Now I serve topspin first, then follow it with backspin. Does that second ball feel even more spinny than before? She says yes. So why does the same backspin serve feel heavier after a topspin? Because the previous ball influenced her.
对对，我受
That
上一个球影
topspin
响。
serve left a feeling in her hand, and when backspin arrived next, the contrast made it seem more extreme than it
因为我
actually
听的是
was.
这个旋转，但是我
Watch
的这个
again, I
我
send
理解
backspin
的
after
可能就是
backspin.
比这个球
One,
实
two,
际上
three,
球旋
four,
转可
each
能
time adding a
时
little
间
more
会更
spin.
拽一点。
She adjusts smoothly. Now suddenly I throw in topspin, then back to backspin, and she dumps it straight into the net. It's not a trick, it genuinely feels like the spin jumped up a level. That's the residual influence of the previous ball, distorting your perception.
你看马上就吃，真是这样啊！不是这个真神奇啊，真不是故意的，真吃的，就感觉旋转变强了，那怎么？我是不是受上一个球影响了？你看，
Next, this same principle applies to receiving in general. We let the previous ball influence us far too much. If your last loop sailed long, you instinctively add more friction or close the racket on the next one, even though the next serve might be completely different. Your attention is stuck on the last mistake instead of fully locked onto the incoming ball. That lingering adjustment carries into your hand and your timing, compounding the error.
我上个球为什么失误？我下个球再出现我怎么调整？我就惦记他啊，我真惦记他。
From now on, when you set up to receive, forget the last ball entirely. Treat every single serve as the first ball of the match. Judge it objectively with full concentration. Don't let the ghost of the previous rally pull your read off course. Many players get caught by a short serve to the forehand, then assume the next one will be the same. When the opponent switches, they're completely fooled. That's the previous ball talking. This is why you see strings of 2 or 3 bad receives in a row. Your mind hasn't reset. Every ball is an independent event. If you misread the last one, let it go. Reset your thinking, reset your hand, and prepare fresh for the next serve.
对，一定要准备下一板，你就把那个思维从这个
Now let's look at a common situation. My partner tries to loop a backspin serve, watch her stroke. Too light, not enough lift, and the ball sails long. So what should she do? Get under the ball more, contact it higher. But here's the tricky part. What about a half-long ball that's between backspin and no spin? She tries the same approach and it goes long again. Against heavy backspin, the answer is clear. Drive your forearm downward through the ball. Watch, when I swing the forearm down and brush up steeply, the ball lifts cleanly off the table. But the second type, the half spin, the almost no spin ball, that's where trouble starts. You go down expecting backspin and the ball pops into the net, or you adjust upward and it flies long. This in-between ball is actually the most common serve you'll face in a real game. Here's a practical method for handling that tricky half-spin ball. Instead of chopping straight down, brush to the side. Watch, when my partner sends topspin and I jab downward, the ball pops up high. But when I redirect my touch sideways, it stays low. The harder you cut straight down against a ball that isn't truly heavy backspin, the more it kicks upward off your racket. So you need a plan for that half-spin ball. For pure topspin, you close the racket and press down. For backspin, you open up and lift. But when it's in between, combine the two. Touch the ball first with a slight upward brush, then immediately press the racket face over. Watch, touch, then press. Touch, then press. Without that press, the ball sails long every time. But if you add that small closing motion with your forearm right after contact, the arc drops and the ball stays on the table. Even against heavy spin, this works. You're not going to push every heavy backspin ball into the net if you touch first and then press the trajectory down. Keep the force small. When you're uncertain about the spin, you cannot commit to a big swing, that's just gambling. Play the high percentage shot. Since your read isn't reliable yet, make your stroke neutral. Touch to feel the ball, press to control the arc. Here's another trap. In your mind, a serve where the racket moves upward must produce topspin. But some players are very skilled at disguising their action. Watch my partner serves with a downward chop motion. You'd assume that's backspin, so you open up and lift. But the ball flies long because it was actually a no-spin ball, not true backspin. The racket went down, but the contact produced almost nothing. You have to objectively recognize what the ball is actually doing, not what the motion looked like. It's genuinely hard to judge. Good servers use body angles, screening, and combined forces to disguise everything. Don't assume an upward motion means topspin. That same action can produce heavy backspin. Watch this demonstration. The racket swings up, looks like topspin, but it's a deeply loaded backspin ball. See, heavy underspin from what looked like a lift. You have to trust your objective read of the ball's behavior after the bounce, not the picture the server's arm paints for you. That's exactly what they've trained for years to fake. They want you to see one thing and react to the wrong spin. So here's your takeaway. For uncertain spin, use the sideways touch to neutralize. For half-spin balls, touch first then press the arc down. And above all, reset your assumptions before every single serve. Read the ball, not the motion. Take these 3 methods to the table with a training partner and drill them until they become automatic.